Didn't think to see me again so soon, huh? Welcome to Master Duel. My name is Stevie Blunder, and I'm here to teach you the basics of Spyral. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown about what the deck does historically and what it can do now, a little bit of a card-by-card discussion, some text, and of course, some of that sweet, sweet gameplay. So, let's get straight into it.
Rule number one is never do anything for yourself when someone else can do it for you.
Spyral's gimmick is being able to proc specific effects based on knowing the top card of your opponent's deck. Stuff like Super Agent can pop back row and special itself from the hand. Spyral Tough can pop cards on the board, and cards like Utility Wire are archetypal Phoenix Wing Wind Blasts. Using the missions, you are able to play a sort of control shell where you can recycle monsters from the grave, plus off destruction, and overall outgrind your opponent. However, this never really saw fruition due to the fact that these cards kind of all suck. I remember somebody mentioned once that when they were printing these cards, they said, who cares if they're not hard once per turns? These cards all suck anyways. That's how it was until Double Helix was released, the breath of new life into this ailing archetype. Double Helix reads as follows. It is a Link 2 warrior that requires 2 Spyral monsters, and this card's name becomes Spyral Super Agent while it's on the field or in the graveyard. You can declare one card type, monster, spell, or trap, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you do, and its type matches the declared type, take one Spyral monster from your deck or graveyard, and either add it to your hand or special summon it to your zone this card points to. You can only use this effect of Spyral Double Helix once per turn. I don't think I have to really explain how broken this is. Graveyard recycling, special summon from the main deck, absolutely broken card, and this was incredible for the archetype and propelled it to be a tier 0 meta threat. I say that with no exaggeration. This deck was extremely dominant. At the YCS Dallas of 2017, this deck had 29 of the top 32 slots, the other 3 being 2 Trickstar players and 1 Invoked player. Thanks to the obscene power level found within this deck, you are able to play out of your mind in regards to building up a combo board of 2 to 3 material Appaloosas, depending on how many extenders you open, triple co-linked Trigate Wizard for an Omni Negate, co-linked Nightmare Phoenix for battle protection, a Spyral Double Helix who enables the searched Utility Wire, and arguably the best part about the deck, Spyral Sleeper, who is a double Trident equipped with Last Resort, who protects it from being destroyed by card effects, battle, and it cannot be targeted as well. And guess what Spyral Sleeper does? Destroy itself. And if you basically pop itself as well as 2 other cards in your opponent's field, Last Resort will protect it from popping itself, and you're just going to completely mollywomp your opponent. So with that, let's get into what this deck can do and get into the card by card. We have our Spyral monsters. We have Quick Fix, who is our searcher for our Spyral gears. These are sort of our extenders and specific combo pieces we need to make our plays go off. We have Spyral Gear Drone, who is able to look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and stack them in any order. Note that the card you mark as 1 is the card that's going to be put at the top of your opponent's deck. We have Spyral Super Agent, who just sort of acts as a searchable additional body that you're able to get onto the field. Sometimes you can also use his in-hand effect if you don't want to commit like a normal summon to see what the top card of your opponent's deck is, or if you don't have access to Drone in order to make your Double Helix live, so that's just sort of neat. One Spyral Gear Last Resort, this is your hard garnet that you're going to be equipping to Spyral Sleeper, who is your double Trident. Spyral Master Plan, who is able to add multiple Spyral missions per turn, because once per turn while it's on the field, you could add a Spyral mission from your deck to your hand, and when it's sent from field to graveyard, you could add any Spyral monster and this shit, Spyral Resort, from your deck to your hand. Absolutely broken. I'm going to read Spyral Resort, and you're just going to cream. Your opponent cannot target other Spyral cards you control with card effects. Once per turn, you can add 1 Spyral monster from your deck to your hand, and that's not a hard once per turn. That is very, very goofy, and you're able to basically search any single combo piece you'll ever need with it. Note that Spyral Sleeper is very, very unsearchable within this archetype, so be sure that at the end of your combo, you're adding it with something like Master Plan early on if you've already got everything, or Resort as your sort of, last resort to get into it. The missions that we're going to be adding off of our Master Plan include Assault, who allows you to special summon from the hand, which is useful in specific corner cases where you need extension. And of course, 3 Rescue, who is your Monster Reborn usually you're going to be using rescue to loop quick fixes or master plans, because you could just dump a rescue, special summon master plan, add another rescue, dump the rescue off of something like barricade board blocker, special master plan. You get the idea. Very, very broken. The gears that we are also going to be searching off the quick fix include Big Red, who is your monster reborn. It's like premature burial, but 10 times better. It can't be destroyed by battle, and if the Big Red leaves the field, it's not like your monster dies. It just loses the battle protection. Very, very broken. You could play it at 2, but this is sort of fine at 1. And 1 utility wire, which is your Phoenix Wind Wing Blast. Absolutely broken and really good for cleaning up specific board states against like back row or stuff that resists destruction. Now, extenders. We've got 3 Parallel Exceed, which is used to go into our Dugaris, which is basically just used to cycle and is very, very nice overall. Parallel Exceed also sets up quick fix lines where you're able to like normal quick fix, get a search, go into Link Rebo, and then Parallel Exceed will trigger, and then you can go into Dugaris, either draw some cards or revive the quick fix in order for more plays. Anyways, extenders, we've also got Monster Reborn, 1-for-1, who is very, very broken in this specific deck. 2 Where Art Thou, 2 Dark Magic Veil, 2 Foolish Burial Goods. You're never going to resolve more than 1 Where Art Thou, and this is basically just a bridge to get you into maybe something like Drone if you haven't searched it out or aren't able to get access to it. Dark Magic Veil is cute if you want to grab Master Plan from the graveyard, or you just need to get it out of your hand somehow, because it also specials from the hand. Very, very cute. And Foolish Burial Goods is just sort of a bad Monster Reborn or Assault that you're able to just dump from the deck. If you want to shave cards, this is probably where I would start looking. And then finally, for our extenders, we've got 3 Magician Souls. This card is very, very broken in this specific deck. You are able to send 2 spell or trap cards from your hand or field to the graveyard and draw that many cards. Say, you know, missions that you've added off the master plan. And additionally, if this card is in your hand, you could send 1 level 6 or higher spellcaster from your deck to the graveyard, say master plan, and you can special summon this card or a Dark Magician, but we're never playing that garbage. This card is amazing for this deck. This card is specifically the one card that made this deck an extremely powerful meta threat all the way in 2020 until Master Plan was banned in the TCG. Very, very critical. You cannot go with any less than 3. Absolutely critical to the game plan. Board breakers, we're playing 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 3 Twin Twisters. Twin Twister is nice because it also acts as a discard outlet for something like the rescues or the assaults. We've also got 3 Forbidden Droplet just to help us break boards, and 2 Called by the Grave in order to help us play through hand traps. For the extra deck, we're playing 1 Sylvan Princess Sprite in order to use as a rank 1 for us to go into. Because Quick Fix banishes itself when it special summons itself from the graveyard, you are able to attach it to Princess. You're able to use it and another level 1, say Drone or Magician Souls, to go into Princess Sprite, who is able to basically either mill a card or add you something super sacky like a Reborn or like a Forbidden Droplet off the top, as well as setting up the Quick Fix Engrave. You could also play some other rank 1s, but this is just the best one. 1 Lyralisca Sandbell Nightingale in case we want to just go into a Zeus line with our Quick Fix and Magician Souls, 1 Dugaris to set up the Parallel Exceed line, 1 Zeus because it's Zeus, 1 Link Rebo for the aforementioned play where we go like Quick Fix, send that off for Link Rebo. For very specific Saki plays, you could also summon the Link Rebo back from your graveyard if you've linked it off for something, say like a Phoenix, and once you get the whole Trigate U-Link thing, you can just special summon Link Rebo as extra insurance. Double Helix because you need the second one for follow-up OTKs if your board gets broken. 1 Nightmare Cerberus for pops, 1 Nightmare Phoenix for pops, 1 Barricade Board Blocker who is able to add back a resort if you've cycled through one, and as well act as a discard outlet for something like Rescue in a Pinch. Trigate Wizard for the Omni Negate, Unicorn because it's cool, Celine Master, Queen of the Master Magician, I don't know what this fucking card says. Anyways, basically all you need to know is that if you have 3 spells engraved or on the field, you are able to revive Master Plan, which is really, really broken. 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, who is basically going to be your monster negates that you're going to be able to climb into, using specifically Celine and Master Plan on most hands, and Access Code Talker, who is just there to OTK and ruin people's days. So, let's get into the text. So, the biggest question you guys have, why are you not playing Upstart and Chicken Game? These cards are extremely good as consistency enablers, as well as to get spells engraved for Celine, as well as having synergy with Magician Souls. don't play these because I can't afford them. These are very, very high investment URs, and unless you've got UR dust burning a hole in your pocket, I really wouldn't recommend crafting these unless, of course, you know, you've got like $1 million and want to craft these. I would very much put these in because they're very, very at home and have a lot of great synergies within this deck, but they're not mission critical. You can get away with playing more board breakers or hand traps instead of stuff like Chicken Game and Upstart. If you want more extenders, the dangers are also pretty nice in being able to get monsters onto the board, as well as to gather more consistency and see specific cards into the graveyard. So if you have like a handful of rescues or assaults or just like a bunch of discard fodder, you can cycle through your deck using stuff like Tsuchinoko and Jackalope. And the scrap package is also pretty funny as a normal summon engine because you're able to make Appaloosa without playing into Droll and Lockbird. By using the Scrap Recycler and something alongside like Jet Synchron, you can go into Wyvern, get Golem access to bring back the Recycler, and then use those three to make a 3-material Appaloosa, which is very, very nice if you're looking to play around specific hand traps, of course, and you have a hand that's not very normal summon reliant. But do be aware that you do play the additional Garnet in Scrap Golem and the Jet Synchron. For additional rank 1s that you can play over Princess Sprite, you can obviously play Versatile Starling. If you want to say play a DD Crow in the main, like a singular one of, you can just search that, which is pretty funny and sacking to do. And additionally, Ensemble Blue Robin, who is basically if you want to end on a rank 1 and you don't really need to use a Princess Sprite as link material, you can use this as a double compulse, which usually in most scenarios is good enough. Very, very nice stuff. So let's get into the game. This game was actually played live on my Twitch on twitch.tv/StevieBlunder, and we're just going to sort of speed through this initial first turn of setup. A lot of your hands are very much, they follow a very similar flow chart of I want to go through this line, to go through this line, to go through this line. So our opponent opening no interaction and us just sort of being able to speed run through this turn is basically pretty relevant. We're going to terraforming, we're going to add ourselves a Spyral Resort, and we're going to activate the Resort. Resort is going to add ourselves the Master Plan that we're going to immediately discard for the 1-for-1. 1-for-1 is going to grab our Quick Fix. Quick Fix is going to grab our Big Red, and Big Red is going to be able to revive our Master Plan in order to help us start adding missions. Master Plan is going to add a Rescue, and then we're going to link those two off into Double Helix. And because we need to know what the top card of our opponent's deck is, we're going to add Drone, and of course the third Resort. We're going to normal summon the Drone, we're going to stack our opponent's deck, and we see a Huaquera, we see not Huaquera, we see Guardian of the Golden Land, and a Card of Demise. So we're going to put Guardian of the Golden Land as 1 and Card of Demise as 2, and blah blah blah, doesn't really matter. We see the Guardian of the Golden Land, we're going to call it correctly. We're going to grab another Master Plan from deck, we're going to add another Rescue. Quick Fix is going to special summon itself from grave because we have a Super Agent on the board, because Double Helix treats itself as that. We're going to link those two into Celine. Celine's going to be able to revive our Master Plan, who's going to add ourselves another mission. You guys having fun plussing yet? We're going to link those two into an Appaloosa Boa the Goddess. Link 4, we're going to overlay those two into Sylvan Princess Sprite to sort of sack something off the top, and guess what we sack? A Where Art Thou. We're going to be using that for some fun things later. We're going to banish our Rescue in order to grab Double Helix, who is going to be able to enable the non-once per turn summon of Quick Fix. Quick Fix is going to grab our Last Resort, who's our sort of last missing piece of the puzzle, where Art Thou is going to add Magician Souls until we realize that we don't have any more Master Plans in deck, so we can't really summon it. So we have to sort of fumble through some plays. We're going to add some Assault after using Master Plan to get off to the races. We're going to use the second Resort to grab the Super Agent to get a free summon. We're going to use Barricade Board Blocker to discard the last Rescue out of hand, and we're going to use that Rescue in order to bring back Master Plan, and we're completely out of missions at this point, but that's okay because we basically cycled through everything. We're going to link those two into Tri-Gate Wizard to set up our Omni Gate, and to set up the last one, we're going to use our last two materials on board to go to Nightmare Phoenix. We're going to add Sleeper off of the Resort, and we're going to go into Nightmare Phoenix. We're going to banish 3, we're going to activate Assault, we're going to set our Utility Wire, we're going to set a Droplet, and we're going to activate our Last Resort, equipping it to Spiral Sleeper. During the end phase, Resort is going to shuffle back the Master Plan, and this is basically what most of your boards will look like. You're going to have Utility Wire, maybe a card you stacked off the top, maybe a hand trap, but this general board is basically what most Spiral boards will end on. And usually you will want to keep the Resort on the board in order to give even further protection to stuff like your sleeper and last resort. Very, very powerful board. Let's see how we fuck this up. Our opponent is going to go into the main phase. They're going to activate Cursed Eldland. And because we're greedy as shit, we're going to negate the effect by banishing it with Trigate Wizard, which you're going to see might not be correct. They're going to go immediately into battle phase, and I start crying once I see the evenly matched. This is where this deck really does struggle. When it comes to board breakers like Lightning Storm, evenly matched, even Dark Hole, this deck really does have problems dealing with that sort of shit. Spyral Sleeper, protected by Last Resort, is obviously really nice, but when you're getting hit from going like 12 negates to basically 1 interruption, that's sort of sus. So they're going to set 4. And because I just sort of want to clear out any errant floodgates, we're going to get rid of the Skill Drain and the Tikaboo with the Spyral Sleeper. And we're looking pretty sussy until we draw the Harpy's Feather Duster up the top. We're going to clear out the summon limit, which really would have put a dent in our plans. We're going to banish 2 in order to add Spyral Super Agent back to hand. Probably shouldn't have banished the Sleeper, but whatever. We're going to Magician Souls, send Master Plan to grave. We're going to use Resort until we realize we have no more targets in deck. Because we know the second card in their deck, because of last turn, we're going to declare it correctly. We're going to cycle into a second Ash Blossom with the Souls. We're just going to swing in for 19 and call it a day. They're going to set the Scarlet Sanguine, and they shuffled their deck, because that does shuffle your deck after you use it. And guess what? They draw off the top anyways. That's right, Card of Demise. Whee! Doesn't really matter. We have the Ash Blossom, who is going to be able to put an end to that. And because they're still under Card of Demise's anti-special summoning effect, they aren't able to use their Scarlet Sanguine to beat over something like our Souls or our Super Agent. We draw for turn. We draw the best card remaining in our deck, Parallel Exceed, and we are able to go into Link Kribo with the Magician Souls. And then this is where we take a little bit of a goofy turn. We're going to use Parallel Exceed in order to special summon itself and copy from deck. We're going to overlay those 2 materials into Dugaris, and because we have exact lethal, if we double our Super Agent's attack, instead of going for a Resurrection for combo extension, we're just going to do this. We're going to go to the battle phase. We know what their set card is. We're going to hit him with the second Ash Blossom because we're just better. And after getting hit with the Dugaris and realizing that 38 plus 12 plus 3 is 53, they are going to scoop it up and we're going to take the dub. Let's get into the pros and cons. 1, this deck is extremely powerful. It has stratospheric levels of power ceiling. You can set up a board through so many hand traps. You can play through so many interruptions if you open well enough. It is absolutely one of the greatest decks to have ever existed for combo in general. It is absolutely ridiculous the amount of shit that you can get away with playing Spyral. 2, Spyral Sleeper is secretly the win con of this deck and is very, very powerful. Obviously, stuff like Appaloosa and, of course, Trigate Wizard with the triple co-link are extremely powerful, but unfortunately, those just pale in comparison to how good Sleeper Last Resort is. Like, I remember at a regional flight, in the finals, I was against Subterror, and basically they set up a bunch of floodgates. I couldn't summon or anything, so I was just like, fuck it. We're summoning Sleeper, equip it with Last Resort, pass. And 6 turns later, after just Sleeper pop, Sleeper pop, Sleeper pop, I won. Yeah, that was really funny. And 3, this deck has the space to play a lot of goofy cards, a lot of really funny board breakers and extenders that a lot of decks don't get to play. Stuff like Where Art Thou and Dark Magic Veil, although only being able to be realistically played in something like Lyrilusk and Dark Magician, fits very natively in being able to search cards like Souls and enable Master Plan setups and extension. Additionally, cards like Twin Twister and Forbidden Droplet are also very, very powerful in regards to breaking boards if you want to get stuff out of your hand. Stuff like extra normal summons, or stuff like the Rescues and the Assault, which is very, very nice to have in the graveyard for, of course, extension plays. And the cons. 1, this deck is not very consistent. Although you are able to play cards like Triple Chicken Game, Triple Upstart Goblin, unfortunately this deck suffers from what I call the Phantom Knight problem, where although it is an extremely powerful deck, the amount of garnets that you do have to play sort of conflicts with the amount of extenders that you play. Because some hands you're going to open nothing but extenders. Some hands you're going to be opening like a garnet plus like 4 extenders, and you're just like, wait, I need a starter. I can't do anything. So hands like that are extremely frustrating to deal with. and you're going to be staring down a bad hand of like double master plan, twin, rescue, and like droplets sometimes. Like that's just the reality of this deck. 2, this deck loses to board breakers. You saw it in that replay. Stuff like evenly matched, droplet, lightning storm. Although some of those cards aren't as prevalent as they are in the TCG, whereas they are very, very prevalent in games 2 and 3, you are basically going to, oh my god, you are basically just gonna auto lose to that shit if your opponent is able to set up anything. And 3, this deck is very, very expensive. Do you see the amount of URs in this shit? This is the budget version. This is budget. How many URs are we playing? 10 trillion? That sounds about right. Overall, this is an extremely powerful combo deck, and if you want to relive 2017 and 2020, I would recommend picking this up. But just be prepared to brick, and be prepared to lose to evenly matched for 9. That's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me throughout everything. I know it's been pretty rough the past couple 48 hours, but yeah, it's going to be it. See ya.